Hello everyone, I hope you're well. So even though Halloween has just gone, I thought there was still time as a nice idea to create a small little still life painting with a bit of a spooky theme to it. So I'm going to take a look around the house and see what I've got that could work as a little composition. So let's go have a look.
So nothing says Halloween more than pumpkins. Sadly, Aldi had sold out, so I got these squashes instead. A bright skull candle, nice. And a Skullhead vodka bottle, sadly with no vodka in it. And this Happy Meal squishmallow could be cute. And finally, some mouldy old fruit that a friend lent me. Yes, it smells as bad as it looks, and the bag's leaking. So now I'll take a little bit of time to compose some sort of appealing arrangement using these things that I've obtained, and take some cool reference photos. Lots of trial and error here. Looks like he's trying to hump the vegetable here, so let's try moving him a bit. No, probably not this one. So after about 15 minutes of dicking around, I finally have an image that I like. I like this one as the composition is quite simple. I like the strong lighting catching the side of the squash here, and Squishmallow, or for this video let's just call him Frank, adds a nice juxtaposition to the organic and rustic looking elements. And here's a colour swatch that I've created to help guide me as to what colours to mix. So let's start sketching this out. I'll get a thin colour wash on here to act as a warm mid-tone, and I'll use a cotton bud / Q-tip to remove some of the paint to help block out the highlights. Starting with the underpainting, I'm using black, burnt sienna and white to get a strong tonal foundation. I'm going quite detailed with this underpainting, as I'd like some of it to show through on the finished picture, as I won't be painting over it completely. This layered approach gives a much deeper, richer final image. As you can see, as the highlights get layered up, catching that strong side lighting, it's giving a very solid early foundation to this. Once the painting is dry, I'm going to start by warming the whole underpainting up with a thin glaze of burnt sienna. As you can see, the paint is very transparent and the underpainting is clearly visible shining through. For Photoshop users, this is the old school equivalent of adding a multiply layer, just so you know. I'm going to keep adding more and more granular detail to this, layer by layer. Here's where we're up to so far. Still just the underpainting, but looking solid. Sorry, I had to get a terrifying jump scare in here somewhere. It's Halloween after all. So after a bit more detail into the wood, it's time for colours, and we're going to start with Frank. As he's not a natural object, I can bring out some brighter, less earthy pigments like the emerald green here. Here, I am using a palette knife to mix the colours that I'll need. Oh, and I'd also like to add a little liquid medium to speed up the drying process. I'm applying the colours quite thinly, as the solid underpainting underneath is doing a lot of the heavy lifting with regards to the shape, tone and form. As I'm going for photorealism with this piece, it's important to be observant of the smallest details, so I'm going back to my reference and I can see that the black material is actually made up of mottled blues and purples, even in indirect light. And where these colours meet, there is a bright green line, which is the way the camera is picking up the lighting, so I'm going to replicate this in every last detail. This will all come together, trust me. Using the smallest brush I have, I'm painting in those tiny little flecks of dust just as they're catching the light. Oh, and let's not forget Frank's bow tie. And now for the squashes. I'm going to use a very thin, transparent layer called a glaze, like this. It will ensure that the solid looking tonal underpainting shines through. I thought it would be nice to use the colours from Frank's fur in the wood for a kind of reclaimed look, but also to tie the whole image's palette together a little bit more nicely. Just adding a little bit more stitching to Frank's bow tie. The smallest brushes are out now, adding those final touches, the scratches and dirt on the skin of the squashes and all the little highlights. I'm about done. Let's sign this off. I think I'm happy to say that this is finished. Frank certainly looks happy.
And there we have it. I think it turned out quite well in the end. Didn't quite make the Halloween deadline, but never mind. So all it needs now is a coat of varnish and it's ready for a new home. And if you'd like that to be yours, it is still available, so just drop me a DM. So until next time, have a great day.